What if the Nazis won WWII? Analyzing alternate outcomes. Imagine a world where the swastika flies over every nation. A chilling thought experiment, isn't it? The question of a Nazi victory in World War II forces us to confront the potential horrors of unchecked power and the fragility of freedom. Let's delve into the grim possibilities. Complete subjugation of Europe would have been the first major consequence. The continent would have been reshaped according to Nazi ideology. General Plan Ost served as the blueprint for Eastern Europe's future. This plan entailed the systematic extermination and displacement of Slavic populations. The goal was to create Lebensraum, living space, for German settlers. Imagine the scale of ethnic cleansing required. Genocide of unprecedented scale would have dwarfed the Holocaust. The Holocaust itself would have continued and expanded. Millions more would have been enslaved and forced into labor. Their lives would be reduced to mere tools for the Nazi war machine. The brutal treatment of enslaved populations defies comprehension. Torture, starvation, and summary executions would have been commonplace. The Nazis envisioned world domination by a master race. This was not merely a European ambition, but a global one. Germany would have been at the helm of this new world order. All other nations would be subservient to the Reich. The United States would have been a primary target due to its vast resources and democratic ideals. The Nazis saw America as a threat to their dominance. A prolonged and bloody conflict with the US was likely inevitable. Even without a direct invasion, the pressure would have been immense. Imagine the potential destruction of major American cities. The imposition of fascism in some form would have been a constant threat. A Nazi victory would have irrevocably altered the cultural and intellectual landscape. The world would have entered a new dark age. Nazi ideology emphasized racial purity and suppressed any form of dissent. Independent thought would have been a dangerous act. Creativity and progress would have been stifled under the weight of Nazi dogma. Innovation would have been twisted to serve the regime's purposes. Art, literature, and science would have been dictated by Nazi propaganda. Truth would have been replaced by carefully crafted lies. A dark age of intellectual stagnation would have descended upon the world. The pursuit of knowledge would have been replaced by the enforcement of ideology. The eradication of freedom of thought and expression would have been complete. Individuality would have been crushed under the weight of conformity. Profound negative economic consequences would have rippled across the globe. The Nazi economic model was inherently unsustainable. Nazi economic policies were based on autarky and exploitation. They sought to create a self-sufficient empire through plunder and forced labor. Widespread poverty and instability would have plagued the conquered territories. The promise of prosperity would have been a cruel illusion. The plundering of resources from conquered territories would have been systematic. Entire nations would have been stripped bare to fuel the Nazi war machine. The impoverishment and dependency of occupied populations would have been deliberate. Keeping them weak and compliant was essential to maintaining control. Severe disruption of the global economy would have been unavoidable. International trade would have been dictated by Nazi interests. A Nazi victory would have been a catastrophe of unimaginable proportions. The consequences are almost too horrifying to contemplate. It would have resulted in genocide, enslavement, and the destruction of democratic values. The world would have been unrecognizable. The world would have been plunged into a dark age of oppression. Freedom would have been a distant memory. This thought experiment serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of freedom and the importance of vigilance. We must never forget the lessons of history.